So can India maintain this balancing act for much longer? Joining us on the program today is Mr. Shyam Saran, India's former Foreign Secretary. Mr. Saran, always wonderful to talk to you. What do you think about India's position on Russia from here on? The US seems to suggest that as this war keeps progressing and becomes more and more brutal, which it does seem to be, it'll be more and more difficult for India to keep abstaining.
I think the most important objective for India has been and will be to see an early end to this war because the consequences for the people of Ukraine, I mean, there is no way that India can stand together with Russia on what it is doing in Ukraine. So I think there is perhaps a misunderstanding that India is somehow, by a somewhat more nuanced reaction is being in support of Russia. I don't think that is true. India is very deeply concerned about what is happening in Ukraine. And it's not only the kind of violence that is being perpetrated there, but what the longer term consequences of this would be, because the outcome of the war is one issue, but I think you have already seen that the world that we had known before this invasion took place, that world has actually changed dramatically, and India will be impacted. So it is a matter of great concern to India.
Mr. Saran, though, how do you look at President Biden's comments on India's position then on Russia being shaky? Do you sense that there is a sense of frustration in Washington over India's stand at the moment?
I think the United States of America is very clear about where India stands. Yes, there is an expectation that we should also, stand together with our partners in the West to condemn Russia. But you would have also seen from Victoria Nuland's statements to you that the United States of America recognizes that there has also been a certain evolution in India's position with regard to the war, as it has, in fact, escalated, and also that the relationship between India and, say, the Quad partners continues to be very, very strong. That is the message which also came out from the recent summit meeting between India and Australia. So I have not much concern on that score. If President Biden feels that there is some shakiness in India's position, I think India's position is evolving towards a much firmer position as time goes on. So I think he should not have any concerns on that score. So I don't think it is an issue of, where India stands. I think India's stand is very clear that here there has been a violation of a country's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and there is no way in which we can justify that.
Doesn't abstention essentially end up amounting to support in an environment like this? So does India, you think, if there's another vote at the UN, which may just happen, do you think India should take a very clear line rather than one where it abstains?
I think you have to take an overall perspective. One is the factor of the vote itself, but I think you should also look at what the representative of India said in his explanation of vote. I think if you look at the statement made by the Indian representative, it is very clear where we stand. So I don't think one should be so fixated on the just the vote on this issue. Also, please do not forget that we have had over the first 2 or 3 weeks of the war a major crisis with respect to a large number of Indian students who were stuck in the war zone. And therefore, we had to also make certain that we were able to, number one, keep engaged with all the major, players.
And of course, to ensure the safety of the students, which obviously was a right priority.
The first order of business, the first priority for us is the safety and security of our own citizens.
As you said, Mr. Saran, just now, that the world as we knew it has completely changed as a result of this Russian decision on Ukraine. Now, what are you particularly worried about? Is it this sort of growing proximity between Russia and China, how does that impact us at a time when we're facing aggression 2 years on our borders with China?
You know, the problem at this point of time is that we simply do not know how things are going to, from now onwards, how will they unfold? Because, you have seen how dramatic things have happened. For me, for example, what has happened in Europe with the kind of unity which you see amongst the European countries who were in a very fractious state before, most dramatically what has happened in Germany. A left of the center coalition has taken a decision for a major, increase in defense expenditures, and actually Germany overturning something that has been a major principle right from the Second World War onwards, that it will not supply armaments or lethal weapons to conflict zones. All that has been overturned. Now, Germany is the largest economy in Europe. It will now become also the most powerful country militarily in Europe. That will bring about a change in the European situation. As far as China is concerned, I think China is, on the one hand, it can take the position that, if the United States of America, its peer competitor, is very much, sort of now focused on Europe, then it will be less focused on the Asian theater. Does that mean, therefore, that we will not see the same kind of U.S. commitment to, say, the Quad or to the Indo-Pacific strategy as we have come to expect in the recent past? That could be one possibility. There can also be another possibility that Russia becomes so weakened by this war, it becomes even less of a power than it has been before, then maybe it is not even the kind of threat that it poses today. Maybe it will be much less as we go forward, which means maybe the US will therefore have more time to devote to Asia.
The
reason why I'm making this is that there are several scenarios which are possible, and I think one should not jump the gun and try to, predict what is going to happen. But I would certainly say this, that as far as India is concerned, our relationship and partnership with the United States of America, with our Quad partners, will continue to be very, very important in dealing with what is really the main challenge for us, which is China. But even China is, sort of groping in a sense, trying to find out what the real impact of this is going to be. You saw, for example, that Wang Yi wants to come to India, the Chinese foreign minister, that he wants to really re-engage with India. That's a different kind of reaction.
I think that's right, because there is a sense that if things don't exactly go Russia's way in Ukraine, that China would also want to assess what risks it wants to take in this region.
So Russia, instead of being an asset, may become a liability for China.
Absolutely. Interesting. Mr. Saran, thank you very much for your perspective on that big story today.